Good morning. I'm just checking. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I hope you're having a beautiful Monday morning. And if you're watching on any other platform other than Women of Light Facebook group, good morning to you as well. And if you are on our YouTube channel, then we would love for you to subscribe and hit the little bell so you know when we're going to be on. So today in pause, I've had a really big weekend, and I ran a full day workshop for my inner circle. I call it the inner circle. So just a group of ladies that stepped up into that next level and was looking for just the elements of creating, whereas what I normally do is we look at what's causing resistance and we move forward with so it's more the basics of creation, where this is the science behind it, and this is more accountability sort of thing. And we had a big weekend and or a big Saturday, because one of the things that in being a woman of light, right, and being anyone of light, in these other platforms, you may be a man and you're watching, right? So hi. And to be someone that is truly in their authentic being, in their sovereignty, is a crucial point. This time and space is really, really important for us to be stepping up and recognizing ourselves as the as spiritual beings, or more than physical beings, that we have the ability to affect our surroundings, and we do that with our vibration, we do that with our thoughts, we do that with our beliefs, right? And so it's really important to look at what it is that you're creating, and you don't have to actually be someone that is focused on that to see that the world is in chaos at the moment, and through choices that we've made prior, we're here right now, right? And so as a collective, we need to do something about that. And each individual person has the opportunity to make choices, conscious choices, to respond to life rather than react, right? So over the weekend, we discussed some of the ways we sabotage ourselves and don't even realize it, because when you are a vibrational being, and science is even recognizing that with quantum field and epigenetics, seeing that our predecessors, and look at this beautiful light from my window, our predecessors, the families, generational history, the emotions and belief systems are actually locked into our DNA, and they're affecting who we are today, right? It's actually part of our genetic makeup, and it's not just things like disease and cancers and stuff like that is a generational thing, it's in my genetics. It's also the beliefs of our previous family members that were traumatic events that have locked in, and so we are being affected by those experiences in our now moment. And so over the weekend, we went through some exercises where we actually, we had some fun exercises, but actually what they were doing were looking at what our default is, how we normally work, right? And when we're in our identity. And so it was a really interesting process, because as we went through one of the exercises, a couple of the women recognized that when they felt like they weren't going to win or they weren't going to have the success that they wanted, they pulled out completely, and they didn't participate fully in the experience, right? And when we went back and we processed that and we looked at it and we talked about it, they were able to recognize how this happens and how this plays out in their everyday life. When something's not going their way, they just pull out. And so today I wanted to talk about doubts and fears, because we all have them, right? It's part of being an individual. We came onto the planet to experience ourselves as separate, so that we could recognize ourselves as, experience ourselves as a oneness. Because, if we were just the oneness, how would we know that we were the oneness, right? How would we know that, how would we experience? It's like, as I say to my clients, you go into the Universal restaurant and it's got every single dish and meal that you could ever imagine, in every single country, in every single flavor, in every single type, gluten-free and vegan and vegetarian and paleo and blah 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 blah, right? And it's all there for you. And can you imagine grabbing all of that food and trying to shovel it all in together? Do you think that it would actually taste nice? I doubt it would, right? And so we've come to individualize so that we can experience, I'm going to taste that and savor it and experience what it feels like to have just that flavor in our palate. And so my flavor is Elizabeth, right? So I'm here as Elizabeth. Your flavor is whatever your name is, and we're here to individualize and experience ourselves. And through that process, we totally forgot who we are, right? I know when I was a child, I had this weird feeling that there was something that I was missing and I couldn't work out what it was. I remember having this moment. I walked past the TV, and I was born in 71, right? So way after Woodstock, but I was walking past the TV and they must have been having a news clip, or there was something on about Woodstock. And I remember stopping. I was only like, I don't know, 6 or 7 or 8 or something. And I remember stopping and having this moment of, oh my gosh, I've come down too late. And then myself going, come down from where and too late for what? Like, it was very bizarre. I also had feelings of not belonging, not feeling like I knew what was going on in the planet. Everyone else seemed to be able to work out what was happening, and except for me. And I'm sure if you feel like that resonates, please put yes in the comments, or let us know your particular story, because I know I'm not the only one that has that sabotage belief of not belonging, right? And so we all come down and totally forget. Come down, even the wording, right? Come down. Who's to say it's down? But we individualize and experience ourselves as separate, and we totally forget who we are and what we're here for, and what the whole agenda was in the first place, right? So we start working out, how to belong here, or how to, if I behave this way, I get rewarded, or I get praised or whatever, and if I behave this way, I get punished, right? And so we start working out, well, this is the way to behave in this family, in this society, in this world, and if I do this, then these are the bad consequences, right? I don't know if anyone's ever heard the saying, how does it go? In a family of thieves, being good is a sin. So, you know, when your family is conditioned to behave a certain way, you start conditioning yourself to behave that way to get the praise that you want, right? It's the way we are. So we start orientating to this is the way I want to behave, or this is the way I get praised, even if it's different to what the rest of the world is. We tend to gravitate to what, you know, our family or the carers, the people that brought us up. And so through that process, that gets locked into our subconscious, gets locked into our way of being. And through that process, we then, when we come up against other things and information and get separate or different input, which happens, right? We all start evolving and growing in our personality. Our consciousness wants to grow and expand, and there's another part of us, some people call it the higher self, other people, I call it superconscious. There's another part of us that's yearning to express who we are, what we chose to experience and you know, live our true nature and purpose. And so they're often in conflict, right? Especially at a young age. And, you know, you're trying to work out who you are and trying to work out who you are with the world. And it can be very, very confusing. And so doubts and fears and behaviors that you wouldn't necessarily, if you were conscious of them, you wouldn't necessarily want to pattern in become part of your norm, and because it's the way of being, right? Someone that is constantly belittled and put down and yelled at and punished for being their authentic self learns to withdraw or learns to rebel, right? Depending on the type of personality they are. So, you know, when you withdraw, you suppress what your true essence is, and you start behaving the way others think you should behave. And when you rebel, you go, stuff the world, right? Stuff the world, and I'm going to behave this way, and yet still find yourself in that pain because you find yourself being rejected by people, and even when you find yourself in, you know, you find a group where there's a whole heap of rebels. Even then you have to condition yourself to behave a certain way because they could reject you at any time, right? And so there's this constant war within inside yourself of who am I being, and how do I behave to get the best outcome and to survive. And so all of these things are conditioned into us, and we behave a certain way. And I grew up being massively having a problem with confrontation. We had a lot of confrontation in our family, and I was put in my room so that I didn't have to be a part of it, which made it quite challenging, because then as I grew up, I didn't like confrontation. I didn't like speaking my truth, or I had a huge problem with my throat chakra. I used to get tonsillitis every year, at least once a year. Never spoke up, never spoke my truth, just in case it was wrong. Let others tell me what to do, and consequently ended up in some pretty hairy and scary relationships because of it, and in pain, right? doubting myself, being fearful of the world. If you're watching and you're watching the replay, or love for you to comment and let me know, like, I'm sure I'm not the only one who has this ring true for them. The things that we get conditioned, and it just becomes this way of life, right? This is the way we live to survive. This is the way we have to behave, and you start thinking it's your personality, right? And when it comes to epigenetics, I remember well, there's this ongoing study with Holocaust victims, Holocaust survivors, so family members of Holocaust survivors that have had happy, normal lives, no reason for any major traumas in their life. They haven't had any major traumas, and yet suffer from PTSD or challenges with confined spaces and loud noises and things like that. And that's how they've discovered that these things get locked into our DNA, these traumas. And so if you're struggling to run a business, for example, and you've got this passion and you've got this drive and this mission to change the world or transform the world in some way, and you've got this amazing ability, and you just you keep hitting this ceiling and you can't move forward. Or the same with finances or health, like you find yourself struggling with your health in some way. There's all of these different, I'm just wondering why these lights, there's all these different parts of ourselves that are really interesting. We think that they're who we are, and they're not. We actually are a divine being. We're here to be a creative spirit. We're here to expand consciousness, and we're here to have fun and see this as a big game, right? So when you find yourself doubting or in fear or anxiety or depression or whatever it is that you find yourself struggling with, then be aware that this is not who you are. This is actually just an old pattern, and you want to everyone has it, right? One of the things about the spiritual and the personal development industry is that there's this be positive all the time. Be like if you, one of the things that used to really annoy me is when someone was like, oh, I created this and this. Oh, I didn't create that. That's because of other people, right? That wasn't me, Or people that would say, oh, how come you created this to happen in your life, right? Whatever it might be. Brain tumor, for example. A great one, right? How did you create that? Why did you create that? And it's really, really interesting because this industry has a half-truth, and half-truths are really, really dangerous because when you're not given the full information and the full level of consciousness, then it can be quite damaging in your life. And so one of the things is when we individualize, we're dealing with other people. We're dealing with duality. We're living in a place where there is hot and cold, right and wrong, good and bad. And when we're stuck in our individual self, which 99% of the time we are, we're in this persona of I need to survive. Stuff happens, right? It's just the way it is. If you're a master at being a conscious creator, it would be extremely boring not to have this contrast in your life that to be able to play with and enjoy the game, right? And choose what you're going to try on this time, and what are you going to try to experience this time, and all those different flavors at that universal restaurant, right? And so doubts and fears are part of that process. The name of the game, the most important thing to remember is that when you're in that place of doubting yourself, or in concern or fear, or you go back into those old patterns of sabotage, not feeling like you belong or not good enough, or whatever the pattern might be. Mine used to be pull back and not speak, doubt myself that I even knew what I was doing or who I was, not belonging, all of those things, right? Those things don't affect me the same way anymore, because I've done a lot of work on myself, and I've done, I understand that that was a limitation that I had, that was most probably partly generational as well. And so when you are in that place, I just killed a mozzie. When you're in that place, I've been trying to kill that mozzie for ages, so I'm really chuffed that I did it. When you're in that place, bring it up, be aware of it, name it, don't suppress it, right? This is here again. This is coming up to the surface. This is something that's an old pattern, right? And recognize it. Don't reject it, because when you reject something, it's going to persist, right? When you try and pretend that it's not true, and you stay in this positivity, you're suppressing that energy, and it actually creates more the frequency in the body distorts even more, and you're going to cause problems within your cellular structure. Not acknowledge it, let it come out if it needs to, release it in some way, and move forward. Keep focusing on what it is that you want to create. What is it, like, this is who I choose to be in this now moment. This is where I am. This is what I know I am. I'm the creator. I'm living in a matrix at the moment. I'm more than the individual self that thinks of these limitations. I am a powerful being. I've created before. If you can make something, if you can make a cup of tea, for example, if you can make $1, you can make $1 million, as they say. So once you learn how to create, you create the same way each time. So be aware of how you're creating, and move forward. What is the steps that you need to take? What are the actions that you're that's going to move you forward into what that result is, and just keep going and orientating towards your higher self, towards your super conscious being, and you're going to move mountains, right? That is how you live in your light. That is how you live in your authentic being, and that is how you be a true creator and live your true nature and purpose, right? Is be aware. Stuff happens. It's okay. All of us have doubts and fears. Don't sit in the doubt and fear and think that there's something wrong with you, that you haven't worked it out, you don't know how to, everyone else seems to, I don't belong here. All of those limiting beliefs that our subconscious will hold on to and lock onto, let them go. Know that you're okay. Reach out to someone if you need to. If this is one of the things that I do with creating, is supporting women to create so that they are living the life that they love. We just happen to be blessed to be able to clear those, or release that resistance that's in the cells, in the DNA from past lives and all the other things, so that it's collapsing time and making it easier and faster to go through the process. So that's me. on pause. We've got Wednesday Wisdom halfway through the week, and looking forward to seeing what the comments are. Let me know how you're going with your creations. Let me know if you're able to shift your focus from those limitations. And you know, just as a side note, it can be really quite challenging when you're trying to create in a place, you know, where you're creating when there's others around, right? And who is not creating with others? Even if you're creating a business, you've got clients, you've got staff. If you're in a relationship, you're creating with somebody else, or others, you know, like family members, all those sort of things. Friendships, all of those things. We are often there's very rarely that we are creating something that only involves us. So be aware that when you hold the vision of something, you're holding the space for the vibration to raise, and you are a creative force, so you can make a difference. And we do have free will, right? So others can make a choice not to be involved in your creation, or to reject your creation altogether, and that's up to them, and that's their their free choice, and it's got nothing to do with you. So make your own choices about how you want to live your life and how you want to create on the planet. And if you're not enjoying your creations at the moment, make a new decision. Change it now. We are in a really optimum time in history. I don't know if anyone's aware of the planets aligning at the moment. There's some beautiful, myself and my partner got up early yesterday morning, I think it was, and saw, now I can't think of what it was, Jupiter and Mars maybe, like they were just like right next to each other, extremely bright, right down my driveway. It was really, really beautiful. So yeah, there's a lot going on. I'm getting the sun pouring in on my screen, and now is the time for us to be waking up. So many more people are waking up these days, and we are going to tip the scale and create beauty on the planet. So join us. Take care. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your week. Hope you got some value out of pause, and we'll catch you next time. See ya.